All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Canadian Spartan Podcast. We actually have one of the Spartan staff on here with us tonight. I'm excited to introduce you guys to Bailey. She does all the course marking for Spartans. So, Bailey, welcome to the podcast. Why don't you tell us a little bit more in detail? What does your job description entail? What is it you do as a job or the course marker?
So first off, hey everybody. So as the course marker, I basically go and just put all of the tape up on the course on where all of the athletes and stuff run. So everything you see on course, I have been there basically. Every piece of tape, all of the arrows, all of the penalty loops, I set up and mark for you. The course is not particularly designed by me, as the head race director will do that, but I'm the one that goes and puts it out on the mountain for all of you guys to enjoy. So
So
it's
how do you do
fun.
that? Do you get a map first, or is there like a GPX file or something, or like
Yeah, so we use Google Earth actually. I got the course map for Tremblant, which is going to be next weekend. I got that map on Saturday. So I have it on
okay.
my phone right now, so I know what I'm going to be doing when I set up. And basically, whenever I arrive at the venue, I get a UTV, I go, I drive up to a point, and then I just start from there and just start marking the course.
So
That's
what
really
about
cool.
the ultra? You
Oh,
mark the ultra too?
Yes, I do.
So you do a lot of kilometers in a week when you're marking.
Oh yeah, I walk a lot. It is insane. Sometimes I'll finish the day, I'll be like, "Oh, so today I got like 50,000 steps. That's a lot." But yeah.
is it just you by yourself doing that? Like is it just you, or do you have other people?
So for a beast and an ultra, I'll have another person helping me. For this upcoming race, it's actually my sister who will be helping, so that's going to be fun.
Nice.
But if it's just a super sprint, then it's just me out there.
Nice. Well, that's fair. I mean, it's
Yeah.
only 10 kilometers.
Yeah. And they give me about like a week and a few days to help to set it up, so that's nice as well. So I have plenty of time to do it. I always try to get it done fast and then see if I have anything to fix after, but yeah.
Okay, so all our listeners, if you ever hate the penalty loop, now you know who to find and who to complain to. Meet Bailey.
Yep, that would be me.
And
So do you get to choose the penalty loops too, or are those like accounted for in your map?
So like he'll say which obstacles have a penalty loop for them, but I'm the one that goes out and I make it however long it is supposed to be. It's supposed to be 200 meters, like 2 minutes, depending on the obstacle. So like obviously Olympus, it takes so much longer than a bunch of other obstacles. So I try to make
yes.
it a little bit longer and I'll use whatever space I have given. So it always depends on like what's around as well. Cause like
hmm
if there's not a lot of space, it's gonna be just there and back for a while. But if I have some more space, then I'll try to make it a little bit more interesting. Like there was one at a Brimacombe where I took you guys through the woods a little bit, and that one was nice. But yeah.
Yeah, the penalty loop for Olympus, which I find the longest, if that you can kind of make a decision. If you see the penalty loop is short and you're a good runner, you may or may not run the loop
Yeah.
if you're in competitive. But that one, nobody wanted to run that one. That was brutal because
Yeah,
that
it
went
was a
down
little rough, I'd say.
that
Look
one
at
went down the hill, didn't it?
Yeah, it goes down and then up for at Olympus. But I find if I like make it so you can so it's out of sight, even if like sometimes the turnaround point will be just out of sight, but
So
it's
you don't
because
know.
you want to make everybody at least try the obstacle as well.
hmm
So
So there's
it
a
will always be
strategy
at
to
least
it.
200 meters, but yeah.
She's got a strategy, you guys. Are you
And
hearing this
actually,
right
we
now?
should say compliments to you because the last two guests that we've had, including Jesse Bruce and Bethany, both said that the penalty loops were a lot more effective this time. So you did want to get in, you wanted to get your obstacle in. We
Yeah,
talked about
exactly.
Olympus. That one's a leg burner for me personally, just the way I do it. It hurts my legs, it's not my arms. And after I was like, I can't run anymore. Should I
Yeah.
have just done the hill? But of course, you
So,
get through it.
so how long
Exactly.
have you been marking courses for, Bailey, for
This
Spartan?
is my third year with Spartan. So I actually
Oh,
started 2 years ago at the Tremblant venue. So that was a eye opener. I've done Spartan since I was 12, but marking it was a different story. So I was like, okay, this is nice. And I absolutely loved it. So I've been doing it since then.
What
So,
got
nice.
you into it? How did you find out about it?
well, I originally started as kids support actually. And then they're like, hey, we need a course support for triathlon. Do you want to do course support? And I was like, yes, that'd be awesome. So obviously I did it. And then the next after that event, the course manager, the course marker actually ended up quitting. So then they asked me if I wanted to come over, and I was like, yes, I love this, of course. But yeah.
That's so cool. And you actually have a little bit of a background in OCR racing as an
Oh,
athlete.
yeah.
So take us back a few years, like prior to becoming a staff. Tell us about your race experience as an athlete.
So I actually started racing when I was 12. When I first started, this is when there was a race at Edelweiss. So I did that one, loved it. And then next year my parents were like, oh, like, do you want to do it again? It's happening there. I was like, of course. So I did it. Both years I ran competitive because I'm a very competitive person. So I was like, well, I'll have to at least try and win. And I actually came first in the competitive girls heat. And at that point, there was also this other kid that was my age. He's like, oh, did you know you can run this with your parents, the adult course? And I was like, really? So then the following day, me and my dad then came up and ended up doing the adult course together. And since then, I was hooked.
Of course, because that's just how it happens.
Oh, exactly.
So then you went on from there and you did lots of cool other things. I see some medals back there. Tell us about some of the bling that's hanging up behind you.
So if we're going to start at the beginning, you'll see these big trophy ones in the corners over there. Those are first place from Kids Elite Waves. So my first year, I obviously was like, well, got to get those in. So I did that until I was old enough to do the adult course. And then I started running adult and age group because they still had that back then. Well, a little bit differently. But yeah, so I did that. I have, if you look up there, there's a bunch of medals from podiums, from just doing trifectas, all of that. I even have the Spartan coin from when that happened, and that was a thing. I don't think they stopped doing that. And then over here, I have a plaque from the 2017 OCR World Championships. That year, I actually came second in the 3K and 15. And at that point, I was either 13 or 14. I think I was 14 at the time. So that's being like basically the youngest in the age group.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. I have this is from NORAMs in 2018. It's the gold medal from age group. And I also have a second place elite finish up there. I think I was 15 when I did that. I think I'm the youngest person to podium in elite at this time. I know there was a girl they thought beat it in the States last year, but we went back and we looked and I was younger. So yeah, so that's pretty exciting.
That is very exciting, especially with the new competitive. That's going to be a harder record to beat for sure. Now, it's not like you've aged out of Spartan. Obviously, we've got Spartans from 4 to like 96, I think is the oldest. Where do you see yourself going with this next? Because you're working for Spartan. So, and I know you did a lot of Spartans. Are you still competing? Are you still considering doing that?
It is really hard to compete at least in Canada, because I'm working all of the events that happen out here, but I am looking to get back into it. I'm probably going to start with just some trail races at first and get my Spartan strength back by doing the obstacles as I work with them. But hopefully I'll be able to start doing some more races, maybe down the States. New Jersey isn't too far, so maybe we'll see me there. That used to be one of my favorite beasts. So yeah, besides that, at the moment, I'm currently looking at trail races because they're a little bit easier to get to because I'm not working them. But I'm hoping to get back into racing the Spartan venue because I love the races. They're so much fun and the obstacles are nice. So
yeah, what's your favorite course in Canada? Because you go out west too, or like you mark all of them in Canada, right?
I mark all of them in Canada. So I'll be at Red Deer, I'll be at Kelowna, I'll be at all of the races. But
so what's your fave?
I'd have to say Kelowna. Kelowna was such a nice venue. I was there 2 years ago because last year got canceled, unfortunately. But it's just such a nice race and it's so pretty. If I recommend a race that you want to travel to in Canada, go to that one because it's so pretty. It's so nice. And you're up in the mountains. There's obstacles right near this lake at the top of the hill. It's beautiful. Like it's so nice.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. I haven't been to that one, but that's definitely a Canadian bucket list Spartan for me. So you said you don't mark the trails. That's a whole separate event.
Yes.
How do they kind of mix that through with when they have a Spartan race and a trail race? They kind of aren't in the same areas either. I know that because I did the 5K last year in Calabogie and then went and ran the 10K race. So will they be crossing over at all this year? Do you know anything about that yet?
All I'm like, I know that we'll start together and finish together, but besides that, I'm pretty sure the trails normally just go out and behind where we are. Like, I know Calabogie, I'm pretty sure it's the Manitou Mountain Trail that they use up behind.
Hmm.
Besides that, the race will just start together. You'll go up a hill, then you'll see the rest of the races at the end.
Oh,
'Cause
that's
that's
true.
all
I
the trails.
remember all of a sudden coming down a hill, like through really long grass, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, there's a Spartan race going on here."
Like,
Because
here's the rest of the people.
yeah, there's the fire. Let's jump the fire. That was really fun, and they are doing a 21K there at Calabogie this year, so
Yes, they are.
that's exciting. Do you think you'll be able to get to one of those races, or will you be too busy?
I'll probably be on the obstacle course happening at that time, unfortunately, but I know they are very excited about that event. I
Yeah.
heard that they were looking to see if all of the trails back there were actually viable a few months ago,
Mhm.
and I'm pretty sure they are. So it should be good for the race, and I'm very excited to see that. I will be up there early, so if I have chance, I might run it before, because I always try to run the race ahead of time just to make sure it's actually the correct mileage.
Oh,
So
that's great.
yeah, we'll
So
see.
what happens if it isn't the correct mileage? Do you change it or alert the race director, which I'm assuming is Nick in this case?
Yes, it would be Nick in this case, but I normally try to get the mileage the Wednesday before the race, so I
Hmm.
have time to either add some. It's normally never long, so it's only ever short. And if it is short, I'll just add like a little section on here or there where I can. But most of the time, it's good enough. I think
Yeah.
what was it? Brimacombe, I think it was 9.8 kilometers,
Hmm.
so it was like about 200 meters short. So I think we left it for that, but like if it's actually like short, we'll add like some extra mileage on
I
there.
don't feel like Nick really cared last year about the ultra being way over, or so it seemed to be way over. I have a pretty good GPS watch, and it might have calculated a lot more over on the ultra, but I guess that's what you get when you sign up for the ultra, isn't it?
Yeah. That's the ultra for you. They also changed how the ultra is working this year. So like where it's going to be running. So that's going to be
Oh,
exciting
okay.
for
So
Tremblant.
how is it changed? Are you allowed to say? I know the map's out, so we can probably talk about it.
Yes, I think the map it hasn't been posted yet. I actually haven't looked
I
online.
believe I've seen it already, and it looks as though, well, actually, I'll tell you what the chatter online is.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Basically, everyone, it may be a little less elevation, but nobody believes that that's actually going to be the real thing because, it's Spartan and we could show up and they've doubled the elevation and had a funny joke to tell us we'd have less. So, what's your interpretation?
So I will say you will be seeing a lot more of the mountain as this year we will be on both sides of the hill instead of just the one side. So that's going to be very exciting. So it's not
Yeah.
as much. Last year was a lot of like up, down, up, down, up, down.
Hmm.
But this year it's basically sprint and super on one side and then the beast is on the other side. So that
Okay.
extra 10 kilometers or 11 kilometers for the beast will be on the village side of the mountains. That's exciting.
That's
Yeah, that's
cool.
awesome
That is
because
so
I
cool.
have not been there personally when it's been in the village. So, and it's always neat to go in the village because people are there and doing things and
Yeah.
it
We're
looks so
not going to be
good.
going into the village, but you'll be able to at least see
See
the
it.
village.
Yeah. That is fun. I know Blue Mountain seems to kind of have a little bit now in the village, which is awesome as well. And way back when there were OCRWC, when it was in Collingwood at Blue Mountain, it came through the village. Like the
Yeah.
finish was in the village. There were obstacles right in the village. Were you at that one? You said two
Yes,
seasons.
I
That
ran
was
that one. It was awesome. I loved
Mhm.
that. I'm hoping that we'll be able to do something like that again because that was amazing. I know that it's different because it's Spartan, but we'll see about this year for sure. But
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Every year it seems like they get a little bit more. I mean, since COVID, they get a little bit more leeway. They're allowed to do a few more things. So that's been really awesome
Oh yeah. So
seeing
I'm
that
very
progress.
excited for it because like back at 2017 World Champs, you literally came in, you were finishing right in the village. I remember that finish too because it was so exciting. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh, this is sick. And then when I was marking it the past 2 years, I was like, oh, this is where they had this. This is where they had this obstacle.
Yeah, I feel like there was an obstacle which was a whole bunch of hanging or something, and then there were 3 panels, floating panels with rock climbing holds on them. And I remember for some odd reason being really scared, even though it probably, if I looked at it from the ground, it wouldn't look as scary, but getting up on there and but anyways, that was a very interesting obstacle. Are we going to be seeing the same obstacles for the race that we've seen this year for 2024?
As far as I know, the obstacles that we had last year will be the same ones we're having this year. There might be modifications, but I'm not sure as of that because I just do the course. I don't really do the
Hmm.
obstacles, but I always go and take them out and check them out a little bit beforehand because I am there, so that's nice.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then when I met you on the course at Brimacombe, so I had met Bailey on the course, and Bailey was sweeping the course. We ended up doing the very last heat of the day, so Bailey basically ran with us. Is that your job to sweep to make sure everyone gets off the course, or were you just changing it up for the next day?
So on the Saturday, no, yeah, the Saturday I'll sweep the course as I'm doing it, and I'll normally tear the part of the course that isn't being used.
Hmm.
So, like for example, in Tremblant, we're gonna have the Ultra and the Beast on the Saturday, and then the Sprint, the Super on the Sunday. So as I'll be sweeping that course, as soon as I break off of where the Super, like the Beast will go this way, the Super will go that way, for example, I'll start tearing the course so that people don't see that the next day and go, oh, am I supposed to go that way? I'll tear
Yes.
that. But besides that, I just basically follow the course, make sure that there's everybody's making along, nobody's in the woods hurt or anything, everybody's safe. So yeah.
So true. And that's actually more important than you really realize to have a really well marked course, because some people put their heads down, and that would be me. And I don't pay attention very well to the markings. And I am kind of known to get lost almost in every, especially trail races. I get lost all the time. I go off trail all the time. I don't think I've ever gotten lost or gone off trail for a Spartan before. So, credits to Spartan on that
Very
one.
happy about that. um, that's why I do a pre-run as well to check the mileage and make sure that everything is marked well enough because I try to run as if I don't know where I'm going when I'm doing the mileage checks. I'm like, okay, if somebody's just running with their head down, are they going to see where they're going and know where to go? So that's why there's extra tape in some spots. You might be like, is this really needed? It's needed.
Oh yeah, it is. I can tell you firsthand, it's needed. I've already been lost. I did 2 trail races this year, not non-Spartans. They were great races, but I did have racers calling me back onto the course, and I'm like, ah.
Yeah, I only got
Ah.
lost one time in Spartan, not gonna lie. It was at Tremblant last year. I don't know. I
Oh.
like missed the cutout to the woods and kept going, and I was like, I feel like I should have been out of here by now. And then some guy yelled at me, he was like, you missed the turnout, and I was like, damn it. And then I lost my podium, and of course the girl behind me wasn't gonna tell me that I'd passed the out. So then I got to the
Oh.
bottom of the
That
hill to find out I lost my podium placement. Which rightfully so. I mean, who's gonna yell at your competitor and be like, "Hey, you missed it"? Like,
At least you
I
can get
would.
redemption this year.
she was like, "Perfect score. I'm out. She's going the wrong way."
See,
So
I would tell you because I would feel like people have warned me so many times before, but I did have one time where my dad and I were doing a race together, and I was ahead of him, and he always tries to beat me when we race. And I was winning. Well, not really, but I was winning between him and I. And he saw me take a turn onto a golf course, and he just let me go. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
he
that.
let me go.
Classic
I
dad
don't know
move
what I
right
would
there.
do. I'd probably let the person go. Not gonna lie, I'd be like, "See ya."
I think if it was me, you would let me go, Amber. You'd be like,
Well,
pay attention.
no, you're maybe like the only person I would call back.
Depends on how tight the race was. Now with the new competitive format, it's a
Yeah.
totally game changing. Best races I've had in Spartan so far. I loved racing the people I was in the heat with. It was so awesome. They were not people I would normally be racing. And it was great because I feel like everyone's game was elevated. And I've heard
Mhm.
that from the elite athletes as well. So
Yeah.
so fun this year.
I agree. It's definitely a different format. from those. I haven't actually raced this year. I can't believe I'm saying that. Makes me so sad. But anyways,
She says that, but she's been racing a lot of decas this year, so she's
okay.
Okay.
Fair. I'm still racing a lot of Spartan branded races. Just I'm indoors right now, not outdoors. But yeah, no, those who raced at Brimico I know everybody was a little hesitant to the change, but everybody who then raced really enjoyed it. So I think it's going to make the upcoming races that much more exciting now that everybody has a feel for it. So that'll be good.
Yeah,
So-
I feel like we need to have a Bailey come back because
Yeah.
I'll throw this out there. Bailey is only 20 years old, so really you just have started in your career of sports and athletics.
Yeah.
You also did some other cool stuff athletics wise. We talked a little bit about some, was it bobsledding?
It was luge. So I did
Luge, okay.
actual luge. It's a little
Close.
bit different than artificial luge, but yeah, I actually did a World Cup for a season out in Europe competing for Canada one
cool.
year. So that was pretty nice. I did that 3 years ago, 3 years ago.
And
But yeah,
how did you get into that? Was that pre-Spartan or after Spartan or all throughout Spartan?
So it was during I started when I was about 15. I'm pretty sure I got recruited through ski racing because I used to do that as well. And then
Okay.
they recruited me. They're like, hey, I think you should try luge. There was a little try luge at the hill one day. So I'm like, oh, this is fun. Yeah, I'll try it. So the next year I went out, I tried artificial, and then COVID ended up hitting. They're like, so we can't fly you across Canada, but actually we can send you over to Europe if you want to try natural luge. I'm like, don't understand how this makes sense, but yeah, I'll go to Europe and do that instead. So I went, tried that for a few weeks. Then the next year they came back like, hey, you crushed it. Do you want to compete World Cup this upcoming season? So I was like, of course. So yeah, and that season I actually ended up coming first in North America for all girls for a natural luge. So that was
That's
pretty
so
cool.
cool. Well, congratulations on your
Thank you.
success. That's
Yeah.
really cool. Well, thank
When
you
do
so
we get
much.
to recruit? When will you recruit yourself into a DECA?
Oh,
That'll be
yeah.
the next one.
At those actually. I don't know when I'll be able to do one because I am in school as well, so it is a little bit hard to figure out when I can travel during the school season for that.
True.
Well, there
But I'm
is an
hoping.
affiliate in Ottawa now.
Okay, that's
You can do DECA Strong and a DECA Mile. There's no DECA Fit in Canada this year, but
okay.
keep your eye out. There might be a Mile or Strong up your way soon. I'm not sure when the affiliate is hosting, but I do know there's one up there now.
Okay, I'll have to look into that then because that's exciting.
Yeah,
Totally.
It's a lot of fun. So, anyways, well, thank you so much, Bailey, for joining us and sharing a little more insight into, the behind the scenes of Spartan, because I don't think anybody would have known how it gets marked, until today. I mean, we all had these theories probably. So thank you for, giving us the real details. And hopefully we'll see you out there on the race course soon. But in the meantime, you guys, all course complaints, go to Bailey. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, any problems, any questions, just come to me. I'm here.
Yeah,
That's
and
okay.
remember she runs fast, so maybe she
Yeah.
didn't hear you.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Bailey.
Thank you for having me, guys.